In today's review of Gulf Air's 787 business class, you're going to see why this product may be the greatest wasted potential since the sequel of Now You See Me is titled Now You See Me 2 instead of Now You Don't, even though this airline has their own branded go-kart simulator in their launch. However, I am not mad at all because I paid merely $200 and something for the entire 15-hour round trip. So you better stay tuned to figure out how I managed to do that. But first, let me pass the mic to my local field correspondent who has an extremely bad time managing his hair. And no, he is totally not me in the past. Any similarity in our voice is purely coincidental. Welcome to the Thai city of Ayutthaya. And today we are going on an adventure of Gulf Air business class all the way into Bahrain. So the first step is, of course, let's go to the Bangkok Airport. A quick 2-hour train ride and another hour and a half of transferring between 3 different lines of metro in Bangkok, I was finally at the check-in lobby of Bangkok Suvarnabhumi International Airport. The business class, of course, has a separate check-in lane. And I really like these premium carpets, even though they seem like they have not been washed since the American Revolution. And the pattern of different shades of gold on top of blue is surprisingly aesthetic. And within minutes, I was holding my boarding pass and heading towards the fast track. Thankfully, I do not have to see the plebeian life I have lived my entire previous 20-something years ever again. And exactly 5 minutes and 37 seconds later, I was cruising around the departure hall looking for the contract lounge Gulf Air has partnered with. And as it turned out, this so-called miracle lounge is actually a series of multiple different lounges scattered all around the terminal. And I, per my tradition, initially found the worst one possible. It is absolutely tiny. It does have a good view. Look at this. Yeah. Nice view over the entire inner courtyard. But yikes, it doesn't have a place that it allows you to sit down and eat properly. So yeah, I don't think I'll stay here for long.
2 very boring minutes later.
Well, second time's the charm, right? Well, it is evident that this one is significantly better. Just evidenced by these chicken along with fake bugs that it's a lounge with class, right? Look at these beautiful decor and the lighting. Absolutely way better than whatever that jail cell was at the 8 gates. But you can see this one is the main one, so it has a lot more seatings available. A lot more beautiful things that you cannot eat on this side. And a lot of the other food options. Yeah, I guess these are desserts. All kinds of desserts. Yeah. And look at these lounging options. Quite a lot of seats available. Yeah, and here's a main food section. And you can see these are actually halal food. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, it's a mie goreng, Indonesian stir-fried vegetables and curry. Rice and chicken soup. That is for the halal food. Let's go check out the other side. And here you can have food made to order. You can see there's steamed rice with chicken, mixed shrimp with pork wonton soup, and a noodle soup with shredded chicken. So these are all options available if you do not want to try out these kinds of food that's available in your buffet. Yeah, chicken with curry, pork stew. You know, that's something you will not find in the halal section. Steamed rice, mushroom cream soup. Ooh, nice. Yeah, and here you can also find the alcohol available. Yeah, just the normal selections. And apparently a missing ice bar. Lots of juices and other items available. Yeah, everyone introducing you to the shower area. Whoa, nice. Beautiful shower suite. Yeah, it's very roomy as well. Wow, it even has a prayer room, you can see. And here it is per Islamic tradition separated into male and female. Luckily no one's inside, so I can show you. Yeah, this is like where you are supposed to clean your feet. And down here is where you pray along with the mats. And since obesity is my passion and sobriety is my sworn mortal enemy, I decided to ingurgitate myself with as many calories as a sumo wrestler who is having his one last meal on the death row. I mean, look at this salad bar. With all of these healthy food, science says that having your 27th bowl is totally acceptable for your diet. Trust me, I am some kind of scientist myself. However, eating a buffet is kinda like starting a cult. In the beginning, it sounds interesting and fun, and quickly the logistics start getting complicated. And sooner or later, the local law enforcement will get involved. So I decided to employ my Cult 101 strategy. I decided to skip town and headed over to another miracle lounge closer to my departure gate, given the fact that my flight is delayed and yet nobody knows when it will announce boarding. And as you can see, this third miracle lounge I have showcased in this video is definitely not as good as the previous one. So if you ever have a lounge pass or have another way of accessing the miracle lounge system in Bangkok, I would highly recommend you to try out their main lounge near the gate D5. Well, after experiencing the lounge, it is finally high time for us to board the Gulf Air's signature flagship, the 787-800, and with their business class called Falcon Gold into the Middle Eastern country of Bahrain. And after seemingly forever and one of the most crowded boarding gates I have ever seen during my travels, the boarding process eventually began 40 minutes behind schedule. And calling the entire process a pandemonium is truly a disservice to all of the pandas in the world. I had to be the Asian Moses and physically separate hordes of the people crowding the gate who were not even in the first boarding group, which ended with a ground agent holding a flimsy piece of paper that simply states business class. I certainly hope that Gulf Air can do better when it's at their home airport in Bahrain on the way back. I squeezed myself through the busy flight attendants really hurrying around trying to make sure everything was in its place, and settled down in my seat in the first row, seat 1K. So now let's walk across this tiny corridor and evaluate our seat. This configuration is called an Apex suite and is widely considered to be industry leading. If you select a window seat like your smarty boy favorite YouTuber yours truly is doing. Why? Well, you can see the legroom is absolutely absurd. I bet there is enough space for me to do some sit-ups on the floor if I am physically able to do one. And let's begin by looking towards the left side on the console. There's a small touching pad that allows you to control the infotainment screen, which I will explain how useful it is after takeoff. And next to it are 4 chrome-plated buttons that control the most important functions you may need at a moment's notice. And moving down next to your legs, you will also find a magazine rack as well as the safety instructions. And right in front of it, there's also a small open cubby that allows you to place some important items, such as this bottle of water they have prepared for me on flight. And further towards the back, next to my kidney, you'll also find a small cubby where you are supposed to store your iPhones as well as other small electronics, as it is right next to the power plugs. I will take a closer look of this provided noise-cancelling headphone later, but let me give you a closer-up shot of the 2 USB-A sockets that is available here. And now facing backwards, you will see that there is a small pillow, and I took a firm grasp to verify the solid construction as well as the quality of the headrest, like an Asian mom squeezing the life force out of a peach in the supermarket to see if it is ripe or not. Moving on towards the side, there's also this gorgeously golden chrome-plated reading light that you can turn on by popping it open, and the button below it apparently controls how bright it is. While on the right side, there is a myriad of buttons that you can push to control the seat configuration. Not only can you move individual pieces to suit your taste, there is also 4 convenient configuration buttons that allows you to lie down or sit upright with the push of one singular button. And at the end of the seat, you can simply place down a sturdy ottoman by releasing this latch, creating a fantastic surface upon which I can rest my dirty paws. And just as intuitive is the unlatching of the tray table. By simply flipping open the armrest, you can release this one large solid chunk of pure wood and metal construction that is extremely sturdy and very good to the touch. And it also rotates, even giving you enough space to walk out of the seat if you are slim enough, showcasing how well designed and spacious this seat is. And the cherry on top of this gorgeous cake is that you can actually drive an electric motor by pressing a button to raise and lower the central partition. And this allows unparalleled privacy because when the partition is up, these window seats absolutely feels like a first-class seat with nobody inside. With the emphasis on window seat only. Because just like life, there is me and there are losers. If you are unfortunate enough to not select a seat in advance and get assigned an aisle seat, you'll find out that you are completely exposed to the aisle, with nothing to protect you from getting rammed by a beverage cart, and the long thin aisle that gives the window seats private access as well as additional legroom is instead turned into this weird and awkward little surface, making the aisle seats undesirable and significantly subpar from the industry standard. So remember kids, do your research and don't be poor. And the first step of not being poor is to enjoy a face wipe with this hot towel provided with this glass of bubbly champagne. And this is my first time enjoying a double welcome beverage, as the flight attendant served me the classic Arabic coffee along with some dates, per traditional Arabic hospitality. And it was such a great touch since the balance between the sweet date as well as the bitter coffee was the perfect blend to prepare me for the journey to come. So now let's finish up this pre-flight prayer, buckle up those seatbelts, and get ready to fly to Singapore? Okay, just hop on board, I'll explain later. And as we're climbing out the gloomy Bangkok skies, let me introduce you to the in-flight entertainment system. As you can see, I can control almost anything using the touchpad at the palm of my hand. And this is extremely useful, as I cannot believe that I'm actually complaining about this, is that the legroom is too much. The entire seat is way too long that it is virtually impossible to reach the other side. And it is absolutely hilarious that the screen even questions your ability to reach the other side, given the fact that this large touch screen can probably be only reached by an orangutan with an elongated finger holding a severed human hand. So sadly, I do not even have the capability of testing how responsive the main screen is. But what I can tell you is that this small touchpad that I could control and feel is as responsive as any other cell phone that has produced in the past 2 years. And you can see that there is a myriad of content not only for adults but also for children. And one of the most interesting things I've encountered in the system is that there is actually a special section for Islamic programs, mostly the Middle Eastern equivalent of Sunday Bible studies. And the entire user interface is designed to be very intuitive and easy to control, with the main menu taking you to just about anywhere you want. And as a board certified nerd myself, I had to check out its 3D flying map. And is the good quality of the entertainment system complemented by another good quality headphone? Well, I decided to take it out of its package and give it a run. And yet sadly, it turned out to be just barely above average, as it seems like it was made by some random street side factory without any branding, so it was rather flimsy and the noise cancelling capabilities was subpar. The plane itself is equipped with satellite Wi-Fi, but somehow business class passengers do not get a Wi-Fi voucher to use during the flight. So I was not ready to pay $10 just so I can get some chatting speed internet so I can argue with my mom online about whether YouTubing is a real job or not. Shut up, mom, you don't get it, it's not a phase. Oh hey, it's food. Oh my glorious Nicolas Cage. Look at this Mezze spread that you can see and pick for yourself. This must be the sight people see when they go into heaven, because I can imagine myself sleeping on this cart any day of the week. I mean, look at this gorgeous plate of little sandwiches and snacks, along with a nice little cup of tea. There's no better way to spend an afternoon short hop towards Singapore. Oh, you're asking me what are those exactly? Well, I wish I could tell you because, like this flight, everything about the service went south very quickly. You see, the flight attendant was very well intentioned and tried her best to describe what these are, but she and her colleagues were honestly very undertrained. Yes, I know it is a sandwich, but what kind of sandwich is it? They had no idea, and it can be further evidenced by details of their service. Take a look of when she is serving me these little platters. Why are the utensils placed backwards? I mean, come on, this is in Hospitality 101. Even I know when I'm serving my fellow homeless buddies when we are under the bridge. I know that when you're serving a guest, you are supposed to hand the utensils to them so that they can hold it directly. And this is not just a one-off issue. On the second flight back, you can see that I was also randomly handed these utensils, and then I had to collect it myself in order to position it in the correct orientation. You may think that this is completely trivial, and you may be right, but this is just one of the many small details that they have dropped the ball that I could document on film. I cannot recall how many times I pressed the service button and nobody ever came, or after a meal I waited for literally 30 to 40 minutes for someone to come by and take out the dishes. The flight attendants are trying their best to help and are extremely friendly, but honestly, half of the time they have no idea what they are supposed to do. And these can all be forgiven if not for the purser. You see, Gulf Air is using this very outdated system of hiring really young, attractive female flight attendants from East Asia and East Europe, but putting them all under the command of one balding Bahraini middle-aged male purser. And generally, these men are paid very well and usually do not have to do anything for their job. So for 2 of my 3 flights I have featured here in this video, the purser just simply disappeared for 99% of the flight, which is shameful while understandable given the fact that they will never lose their job. But on this particular flight to Singapore, this male purser was the most disappointing part of the entire experience. While he was casually chatting it up as if they are old friends with a guy next to me who were also a Bahraini speaking Arabic, he did not once recognize my existence at all. No, not even a hello or goodbye when I was boarding and deplaning, not one single word when I asked him what are these dishes, and when I passed him in the aisle, he simply just looked the other way and pretended I didn't even exist. I don't know what's wrong with this guy. Maybe he thinks that anyone who does not speak Arabic and look like him was absolutely subhuman, or just that he only wants to interact with the people he wants to talk to. This is in no way how someone in the service industry is supposed to act, and I genuinely wish that he could just fuck off to the crew rest area and not blocking the way of everyone else trying to do their job. Pardon my language, but I'm genuinely this mad and disappointed about this specific purser. So it seems like Gulf Air managed to knock it out of the park when it comes to the parts that they can buy with money, such as all of the hard products like the plane, the seat, the food, and all of the other amenities that they're gonna serve up on the long haul coming up next. But when it comes to service and soft product, they seem to be cruising way behind of its competitors in Qatar and United Arab Emirates. And I genuinely hope that they can improve the training as well as the crew structure, because if they do, they might just be one of the best airlines in the entire world. However, today is not the day, and all I can feel is disappointment. Because I mean, how good of a seat this is. As I tried to lie down for a quick nap, it really hit me how spacious and well designed that this Apex suite was. I mean, just take a look. This is a completely unobstructed 2 meters long and exceptionally wide bed with no footwell restrictions. Just a few years ago, this would pass as a first-class seat, let alone a business-class product. All these suites are so well decorated and beautiful regardless of their position, and we are just this close to greatness. So I decided to put all of these behind me and try to enjoy our descent into Singapore as much as I can. Welcome to the beautiful garden city of Singapore. And yes, unfortunately, even though this is a technical stop, Gulf Air does sell individual tickets between Bangkok and Singapore, and that is the reason why I get to fly this flight for so cheap, which I will explain in a later part of this video. But you can see it is currently docked behind me. Everyone has to get off, and if you are continuing to Bahrain, you get this beautiful card. Yeah, they just hand it to you and ask you if you're heading to Bahrain or not. Well, since Singapore Airport takes the cage-free, free-run concept concept of an airport terminal. That means whenever you need to get to a gate area, you have to clear the security there instead of right outside when you enter the terminal. And thus, for us, it means another round of security when you get back onto the flight. And well, here I go flying again. I quickly waltzed down the jet bridge and turned left since we boarded through the second set of doors. And I quickly returned to my home sweet home. I decided to select the exact same seat as our previous flight, and yet this time it is a little bit different. A whole new set of bedding was waiting for me on the surface, and in the small storage unit, I also encountered this rather interesting amenity kit. And after taking a sip of my lemon and mint signature juice, I took a quick gander of menu that is distributed only for this long haul segment. All of the food seems to be well sourced and definitely high class. So if you want to take a closer look, feel free to pause the video and give the full dinner as well as the light refreshment prior to landing a detailed read. And I just really like this kind of design because the left half of the menu reads from left to right since it is all in English, while the right half reads right to left since it is all in Arabic, forming a perfect complement on both sides. And I was also handed a pair of flip-flops as well as a set of pajamas. But first, let's peek into the amenity kit. Like a disobedient teenager on Christmas Day, I violently disemboweled the packaging using my sharp fangs, and out comes a pair of Gulf Air branded socks. There's also a small mouthwash, a dental kit, as well as a nicely packaged pair of earplugs. And it is also very nice of them to put a pair of comb for my completely messed up hair. But the most valuable contents in the kit has to be the Oriental Essence branded hand cream as well as lip balm. And the most surprising item of them all is the Gulf Air signature Eau de Toilette. I'm pretty sure this is the signature fragrance of the airline, but according to my limited French, I don't know why they sourced it from their toilet water. Overall, it is an excellent amenity kit as I expected, since it can be stocked up with monetary investment in their product, and it is high time for us to pack up this kit and do our pre-travel prayers. Thank you, Singapore. It is time to go to the Middle East. Finally, the first true meal service of this video began with the warm nuts, but that did not distract me from this gorgeous salad as the appetizer. I mean, look at these gigantic prawns. And this soup with fresh croutons in it. And then the third step of engorgulating myself involves this beautifully layered biryani. And it was my first time experiencing this classic dish executed so well in the air. And finally, rolling on the cart yet again are my desserts. Instead of choosing between a fruit platter as well as a lemon pie, I asked myself, why not both? We are 30,000 feet in the air. I'm pretty sure the gravity works in a different way and thus leading to calories counting for less. Oh, you gotta love science from time to time, am I right? And overall, the flight attendants are like the previous ones, are trying very hard, but they just lack some basic training. As it was 30 seconds to showcase the meal to you, it took me a solid 2.5 hours to finish this marathon. The service was simply way too slow, and the flight attendants seemed to be not well trained enough to accommodate the entire cabin filled to the brim with customers. You have already seen the slow serving pace, so I would not bother you with more complaints now. So let's move on to airline business class review industry's newest trend, the bathroom? Okay. I mean, there's a separate mirror in this mirror, which is cool. And yeah, that's a sink, and there are some other things that you can, cream yourself with. I guess that's interesting, right? And for ad revenue's sake, I want to show you this mirror situated at the end that allows me to change into my pajamas. Yes, something actually fun. Look at this handsome chap in this stylish pajamas. And I have to say, it not only looks, but also feels very comfortable. And definitely worth bringing home and get chewed up by your family pet. And while this self-absorbing idiot was busy gawking at himself in the bathroom, the flight attendant, per my request, has actually went to my seat and made up my bed. This turn-down service was conducted flawlessly, and presented in front of me was one of the most comfortable beds in the entire sky. So I quickly hopped into it with my freshly unpacked pajamas, and needless to say, after 4,000 calories, 2 glasses of champagne, and a bit of a silly dance in the bathroom, I fell asleep like a baby who was listening to my college professor's calculus lecture.
$3,000 whoop-whoos later.
I was shaken awake by the flight attendant as it was the last chance to order some light refreshments before we land. Since I somehow passed out for a solid 4.5 hours, and we were getting really close to our destination in Bahrain. So I quickly conjured up this finger sandwich and macaron, because devouring food is not only my duty as a YouTuber, but also my passion as a tuber. And you can see the consistent high quality of the food that is presented here as we are quickly descending into Bahrain International Airport. But wait, there's more, because I have yet to feature the departure experience from Bahrain International Airport. So let's quickly hand it over to our local correspondent, the Calorie Master. Welcome to the Kingdom of Bahrain, and stick around because on the way back I'm gonna show you what it is like in one of the better seats on row 3, and also have a lot to talk about the service, about the culture of the company, as well as how it is like to fly Gulf Air and how I managed to get all of these tickets for some ridiculously cheap prices. So I'll see you on the way back. Oh hi, welcome. You have time traveled. Congratulations. Give yourself a pat in the back. Now it is 3 days later. It is time for me to go and embark on my way back. And it is actually much more important to fly from here in Bahrain on Gulf Air because you get the proper treatment of the Falcon Gold. And let's start with right here. You can see there's a special check-in area on Gulf Air. Oh, check this out. This is so beautiful. Look at this. This is like golden blinged out to the max. Oh my god. And then each person has their own stall to check in, so no more waiting in line. You just wait here in the sofa if there's too many people, and then you wait for check-in here in this area for Falcon Gold. Yeah, truly personalized experience. Well, everything is so connected and easy. I got my boarding pass within about 30 seconds. I went through the immigration right behind me in about 10 seconds, and now I'm about to go through this fast track completely empty security lane, let's say 30 seconds.
1 minute 37 seconds later.
Well, in the end it turned out to be about 20 seconds. So yeah, so far I have not spent more than 3 minutes here in the entire airport, and then about 60% of the time is actually me talking to the camera. And also now, after 30 steps, I'm up here going to the Falcon Gold lounge. Ooh, look at this, it lights up. Wow, this lounge looks absolutely incredible. Look at these chairs. There's like real plants here, and this is just one tiny side. This lounge is gigantic. I mean, absolutely humongous. You see, this side is like a business center. Ooh, funky. And then you can see the decor is really nice as well. All of these are proper leather, and these are like proper tabletop. And what's in here? Ooh, a nice little quiet room. Look at this, beautiful. And here you have a little island of tea, coffee, and some snacks. This is for tea time. Ooh, oh, these sandwiches. Oh, look at that cream caramel. Yeah, and then here you have a little slanted gateway. This is so cool. Yeah. Hey. Yeah, here's like a travel center, so if you have any problem with your ticket, I think the agents here are the most competent in the entire airline. And then here's the bar. This is the only place that serves alcohol, because in the dining area, alcohol is generally prohibited because by law here in the Gulf countries, Bahrain is already quite lenient. It serves alcohol to begin with, but it's restricted to certain areas, as you can see. And oh, yeah, this is so extra. It's a VR game machine. Yeah, this guy's like playing VR. I don't know why, like why would they have this, but this guy's having lots of fun. Yeah. A pool table, of course. A racing table that is branded with Golf Air, you see? Wanna watch me play some freaking go-kart? And what kind of business class lounge is it without a golf simulator? This is so extra. Oh my gosh. Foosball, of course. Yeah, definitely 100% business requirement, okay? Put it onto the business expense. And oh, this is the quiet, relaxed zone, I guess. You can see these chairs turn into almost like flat beds, and each one of them have a screen to watch. This is a pretty nice area to relax. And then we move on to the dining area, which I think is the most impressive. Look at this, such beautiful architecture. And down here you have some of the most excellent mix of all kinds of cold dishes ever. Yeah, look at the tabbouleh, mutabel, yeah, and then the hummus. And here is like the desserts. Of course, here you have baklava, and then here you have some fruits, some tiramisu, all kinds of cheese, lots of cakes, all kinds of cakes, pepperoni and cheese pizza. Yeah, proper Middle Eastern food. Yeah, and then you also have burgers that's made to order. But jokes aside, the real local food is actually here. You see, like some lasagna, some steamed vegetable, and dal with rice with saffron. Yeah, biryani, yeah. And the mashbous, that's like the national dish of Bahrain.
with samak.
Ah, yes. This is like a proper local food. Yeah.
The pizza.
Pizza is Middle Eastern too. Yeah, and then some soups, you can see. Yeah, and everyone's ridiculously friendly. Like, I think I'm gonna get some popcorn. Yeah, this is like so stupidly fun. My first time seeing a popcorn machine in a business class lounge, and I've been to like dozens and dozens of them. It's absolutely fantastic. And here's like a kids area. So this area is where you can, you know, just leave your kids and let them play around. And this area, the next area I'm gonna introduce you, is probably the one that shocked me the most. You know, here in North America, it is very difficult for us to get a PS5, right? Because the chip shortage, the scalpers. So actually now if you want to get a PS5, it's very expensive. You have to like pay twice or three times the retail value. They have 4 sitting here. Nobody has touched them, I can guarantee you. It's sitting at a corner, and you can see it's like brand new. You can see this is as good as a lounge comes to be. Like, it has almost no crowding. It has ridiculously good food options and really nice alcohol options. And then the decor, all of the little things have all been thought of. So it's a very well thought out, very well designed lounge. Yeah, and I think it might be one of the best lounges I've ever been in.
Many secret parties later.
After stuffing myself with enough food to lift a few countries out of poverty, I hauled my exceptionally humongous bottoms towards the boarding gate across the terminal. I was so full at the time, if someone just even mentioned the word amuse-bouche, I would turn into an unamused douche. But fellas, I am strong. I can soldier on because we have a job to do. Okay, you know the drill by now. Boarding the plane, turning left towards business class, walk all the way down the aisle and get into my seat. This time it is 3A on the left side, absolutely humongous legroom and tremendous amount of storage under the ottoman, Arabic coffee and date, flight attendant ignoring all 4 calls, begging them for help. The center motor divider is broken and unable to take off. Wait, what? Wow, even though this plane is pretty new, a lot of things seem to be very broken. My own personal divider took a special agent to come on board in order to fix. And he even chuckled he has to do this a couple times a week. And also look at the wear and tear of all of these buttons. They seem like they were manufactured the year Louis XIV just hit puberty. But everything else seemed to be completely routine. You know, pause the video if you want to take a deeper look of the menu, yada yada yada. And oh, this time I also managed to grab the secret bar menu. So pause the video if you are curious what kind of alcohol is on board. And absolutely, I will not forget to mention the lemon and mint signature juice. And that's everything, and off we go. And after takeoff, here are some of the dishes presented as dinner options. First up, we also have the warm nuts as well as a red wine. and I decided to skip the main course because one extra slice of meat is gonna turn me into a biohazard that nobody has ever prepared for. And then boom, here is the healthy option for dessert, a fruit platter. And then it's time to hit the hay with the most comfortable bed in the sky. And voila, 6 hours later, I was enjoying this beautiful breakfast, starting with another fruit platter with a croissant, coupled with some freshly squeezed orange juice, and the main course is a blueberry waffle. Honestly, how did they make it look so good? Kudos to them. I mean, airplane breakfasts are usually high school. You experience them and you never want to talk about them. But finally, we reached the part that you are the most interested in and definitely want to remember, and that is how I managed to pay for the entire trip for only $275. Which is probably 1/3 of an economy ticket price. Well, if you have paid any attention in the past 30 minutes, you should have realized why I was flying from Bangkok to Bahrain through Singapore. Well, this is where this interesting ticket comes into play. Around the COVID years, Gulf Air was having trouble configuring their flights towards the Southeast Asia region. So from time to time, they fly direct flights from Bahrain directly into Bangkok as well as Singapore. But sometimes they decided to do a tag flight, which means that they fly from Bahrain into Singapore and then tag on another flight into Bangkok. So theoretically, they can serve both places with just one airplane a day. And this also allows them to sell tickets directly between Bangkok and Singapore. So as all of the services resumed, they forgot that they are selling tickets from Bangkok to Singapore without any restrictions. So when I purchased it, I could buy a ticket directly from Bangkok into Bahrain and stop in Bahrain for a few days, and then continue from Bahrain into Singapore. And this ticket would count as if I was flying the short 2 hours hop from Bangkok into Singapore, which should be priced around $270 more or less in business class. And due to a later flight cancellation, I was reaccommodated on the tag flight. So instead, I had to experience 3 extra hours of business class, oh, the pain, of flying from Bangkok to Singapore to Bahrain, stopped for a few days, and then from Bahrain back to Singapore. Well, this deal no longer works because Gulf Air has quickly caught on to the little tiny oopsie that they have made. I can still find a lot of these random strange tickets from time to time, and I will post them on my community channel as soon as I see them. So I would highly recommend you to click the subscribe button as well as the like button on this video so you can make sure that you are one of the first people to take advantage of these deals. They can disappear really fast, so make sure you click the bell icon as well. And now you possess a little bit of the trick this magician has on offer, so please allow this humble magician to provide you the scoring for this business class experience on Gulf Air 787-9. I have used this system out of 420 points for all of the past business class reviews, so we can do an objective and totally not biased ranking using this certified haha number. First up, the ground experience. The special business class check-in as well as security and immigration in Bahrain is extremely efficient as well as luxurious. It is fully separated from the peasants traveling in economy class, and that is exactly what us social elites need to have. And the flagship Falcon Gold lounge is absolutely decked out in all kinds of amenities. And the food offering is absolutely spectacular, the service is meticulous, the PS5s are shocking, and the go-kart simulator, golf simulator, and VR machine are so extra. And the only reason prohibiting it from getting the perfect score might be that the lounge really lacks a Bahraini Middle Eastern taste. Instead, it feels like the underground gaming basement of Elon Musk's anti teenage son. So it gets a great 66 out of 70. And next up, the seat. What can I say? Apex Suite is the pinnacle of modern business class design. While I will absolutely give the window seats a perfect 70 out of 70, I have to take into account that there are also half of the seats that are closer to the aisle. They are more exposed and have less efficient design, so I have to average it out to give it a 63 out of 70. And then we move on to amenities. Gulf Air has nearly everything. Flip-flops, pajamas, nice bedding, as well as a fairly decked out amenity kit. So it gets a 56 due to a lack of a mattress pad, as well as the lack of significant branding in both of its headphones, as well as its amenity kits. The fourth category is food and drink. The quality that is on display is clear as sky. And I really like that the small snacks as well as the desserts are always brought out in a cart, showing you exactly the options that you can choose. However, the wine list is quite hidden as you have to proactively ask them for the options. And the alcohols on display are not really crème de la crème, so the catering still gets a respectable 57 out of 70. And well, we have to talk about it. The service. As I have ranted before, the entire service structure of Gulf Air just screams 1990 Middle Eastern society. Having a local Bahraini male purser that does nothing is already bad enough. But having one like the purser in the first flight that is just so passive aggressive and actively ignoring everyone who doesn't speak Arabic is simply not acceptable. While I still have to give credit for all of the other female flight attendants trying their best, it is simply not enough when their best is not even properly trained. Nobody answers the flight attendant call button, it takes forever to finish a meal, and all of the utensils are upside down. So sorry, Gulf Air, the most I can give you on service is a 20 out of 70. And finally, we arrive at the value proposition. While it will be easy to give it a 70 since I was enjoying nearly 16 hours of business class on a $270 ticket, I have to use the normal pricing to evaluate this business class. And Gulf Air is generally on the cheaper side when it comes to transporting you from Southeast Asia to Europe or the Middle East. Even though most of the time it involves 2 or even 3 transfers connecting you on one of its many partners. But the value is still there, so it gets 47 out of 70. And rounding them all up, Gulf Air gets a surprisingly high 309 out of 420 and narrowly edges out both KLM as well as Finnair. So remember kids, what did we learn today? In life, personality, humility, and all of those others should not matter when you have the money. And make sure you tell your parents every single day. And what a perfect segue this is, because we are finally approaching the place where Crazy Rich Asian is filmed, Singapore. So let's watch our landing into this tropical city and savor the last couple minutes where we can pretend that we are actually the top 10%. And oh, I may have a little surprise for you right after this. Well, that is it for my review of Gulf Air business class, and welcome to Singapore. And yes, I'm back at the butterfly garden, and you can see during the day it is much more beautiful. Yeah, I'm just well loved by butterflies, I guess. And of course, yeah, if you want to check out more videos like this, I actually have a business class playlist of all of the business class I've flown before. And also subscribe if you want to check out other crazy travel hijinks I'm up to. And also like the video, of course. And I'll see you around.